So, good morning and good afternoon to all my East Coasters to this special winter solstice sacred stillness workshop on the winter solstice. So, let's just take a moment to center. I want you to close your eyes, align your spine so you feel as it's this lightness, this expansion. Many times when we think about the spine, we think of body and structure and even heaviness. Right now, I want you to imagine that from the tailbone where you're rooted all the way up through the crown of your head, you feel lightness. Take the breath, exhale, settle in, and allow the breath to just move toward the belly without a lot of effort. Just be. As we gather and come together to celebrate the Yule, this time of the winter solstice, where we have this transition, this moment of light and darkness. And as we travel through the day and into the next day or two, we start to notice the subtle shift of the light changing. And as we notice this shift, as we're in this energy of the solstice, we might notice things shifting within us. And so we just take a moment to notice, be in the presence of this wonderful energy. I wanted to share this blessing that I had with you today about the winter solstice. Since the beginning of time, we have gathered in this season to celebrate the rebirth of the sun. On the winter solstice, the darkest of nights, the goddess becomes the great mother and once again gives birth to the sun, beginning the yearly cycle anew, bringing new light and hope to all the world. On the longest night of winter flares the spoke of hope, the sacred fire, the light of the world. We gather here to welcome the new light as we join the goddess in greeting the new sun. We also welcome the new light within us. I light a candle for the infant solstice sun, one small flame to pierce the darkness, a ray of hope, a symbol of light within us. Light that can never be extinguished, light that will grow in glory, waxing strong, despite the cold to come. Light that dispels despair and resignation, giving us a glimpse of golden days ahead. Behold the light that can never die, reborn anew in the solstice sky. So allow your hands to come together, holding anything that resonated with you, maybe holding your own intention of why you're here with us today, honoring this subtle and powerful time of the solstice. Before we open the eyes, with your palms together, can you lighten the touch of your hands? You're still touching parts of your hands, but it's so light. It's like a feather. Can you do that with your palms? This practice today is really about honing this awareness of perception, dropping into the subtleties of what's around us and what's within us. So as you barely touch the palms of your hands, you might notice parts that are touching and parts that aren't. You might also notice that we're sitting in stillness, but we are not still. You can notice it at the touch of your hands where there's tiny little bit of fluctuation and movement. We are dynamic beings, even for practicing sacred stillness. And then go ahead and let that go, releasing hands, releasing eyes, and coming back. Good morning to Susie and good morning to Bonnie. So good to have you join us. All right. So, just to give you a little bit of how this is going to run, I'm going to do a little introduction, a little talk, a little sharing of information. And I'll open that up to if anybody wants to share at the end of that. And then we're going to move into the practice. I'm going to do a blend of somatic work and yin yoga to start to tease out some of the holding patterns that we have in our body before we go to yoga nidra. And for the people that really don't know my practice and somatic work, somewhere I have a paper that basically talks about what somatic work is. It's really designed to move fatigue out of the body. Our bodies are exhausted just from being in the world and dealing with the world. And so this practice helps us to, of course, we are dealing with the fascia and the connective tissue and hydration and fluid and all of those things, but we're also moving the fatigue out of the body, flooding the tissue with space, blood, lymph, fluid. So it's a wonderful thing to practice, even just one a day, because it will start to remind your body of this release and this hydration and this ease. So it's one of my newer practices that I've been working with, and I find it to be truly helpful, especially when I'm exhausted, especially when I feel tired. So coming to the winter solstice, maybe you had a reason. I asked that earlier. And if you have a journal with you, you might want to have it near you just in case you get inspired by something that's mentioned, maybe something that you feel. I know that when I go to workshops, I've always got a journal next to me because I never know what could be said or is said or felt, and then I always want to have an opportunity to write it down. So the first thing I wanted to mention is why I decided to run this practice today. And I was feeling, and I was hearing a lot in my classes about what tools can we have to help us as we move, not only from the end of the year into the new year, but as we move through this really challenging time. We all live in the United States. We all know how chaotic and a little insane it can be. And as humans, we are very much connected to the energy around us. And I talk about this a lot as an Ayurvedist. So nature, now we're in the solstice time. So it's a really beautiful opportunity for us to slow down, become very clear and aware about what's going on within us, maybe even what's going on around us. We can't choose to change what's going on around us, but we can definitely have an effect on what's within us. So as we know, it's the shortest day of the year, and the sun is at its lowest and its weakest point, which is why we always say we honor the sun, because this is that turning. These 2 or 3 days here are the turning point of the light starting to come back. And what I think is interesting when we think about this is a lot of times we'll think about a light switch. We'll just turn it on, turn it off. It's not like that. It's real subtle. It's real, almost slow motion. And we think about a turning point not because it's something sudden or dramatic, but because of the subtle shifts. And that's our opportunity to really notice ourselves. Beneath the surface, the direction of light has already begun to move, even today. So when we acknowledge the darkness, it's a time of introspection and rest and gently welcoming the light as a time of hope and clarity. So the message that I have from that is that it isn't just a list of things or this day it's one way and that day it's another. It's almost a really subtle graduation of things. And over moments of time, you might have a little aha moment. You might feel or sense there's a shift within you happening. I talk a lot about building inner wisdom. It's a time of connecting to the truest self, your divine light, and what the yogis or the Ayurveds call releasing prajnaprata, which is our ignorance. Releasing some of that, not grasping. And the way we talk about that is we all have this habit. We might say, you might hear ourselves say, God, I'm so stupid. Why did I forget that? Blah, blah, blah. And so it's a negative message to yourself rather than going, maybe I wasn't supposed to go to that after all. You know, a little bit different framing. And just catch yourself on these prajnaprata points, these crimes against wisdom. We know better, but we don't do better. And I'm not trying to talk about anything in particular. It's just an overall idea, a subtlety that we might start to notice. One thing I can mention is that if we get hooked into this prajnaprata, we get hooked into this energy, it's really hard to break away from it. This is why people come to yoga classes. This is why people go to church. This is why people come to practices like this. They're trying to really come back to themselves. And so I have these 4 sort of segments of things I wanted to mention today. The first one really is about taking a pause. That's what this day represents for us, this moment in time where we can pause. Almost like between the inhale and the exhale, there's a pause. The moment today is there's a pause between that light moving out and that light coming back. The darkness moving in, the darkness moving out. It's an opportunity for us to create space and take that sacred pause. We'll use breath, but you might also think about how you talk, the actions you take, the words you use, the thoughts you have, so that you can create a slower and more intentional rhythm. So, so important. And I'll share a story with you that happened to me yesterday. I wanted to go visit a friend. I just was going to go see her house. She moved, she's setting it up. She's very busy. And I waited and waited and waited for her to call me to say, I'm back home, come over. And then when I got there, she was in such a swirl with trying to do all the things. And it was almost a little manic. And I really felt myself going, wow, this is really uncomfortable for me. And I really noticed how hooked up into that energy she was. And then I stepped away. I left her and I walked away and came home, and I started to think about her as she lives her life, and she lives her life like that. It was just exacerbated yesterday. And I thought, there's somebody who is hooked into this frenetic energy that's out there in the world, and she doesn't even know it. And it really does wear her down. So these are these opportunities for us to just exhale. Once we pause, we can look inward. We give ourselves the opportunity to notice what's present. I talk about this all the time in my yoga classes. What do we feel? This is what Satya or somatic work calls our felt sense. What do we feel on the inside of us that nobody else can see or feel? Building our inner wisdom for resilience and really noticing what no longer serves us as we move forward. So the solstice is also a time of transitioning, of releasing and letting go of maybe what no longer serves us, and giving you space and freedom to open up to what is, what's possible. Once we look inward, we notice what's present, we can then connect to self and others, which is so vital. We talk about this as people age, women especially need community. And so when we can take the pause and look inward, we actually create the ability to connect deeper to not only ourselves, but to other people, and to build the light within and all around us. And if I use my example from yesterday, there was no connection yesterday with me and that person. None. Because she couldn't do it. And I don't know if you've ever been around people like that. They're so wound up about whatever their life is that they want to connect. There's just no space for it. And then once we go through that, we are open to new possibilities. And that's what this transition time represents too. We can create space, we can go inward, we can connect. And then there's the possibilities of new insights and new expansion. We can't even notice it when we don't slow down and have a deeper connection. So today I want to invite you to remember what nourished you last year, what nourished you this past year, and to name maybe one or more things that you want to release moving forward. Now, this isn't something that I'm going to ask everybody to share, but you might want to journal down something as far as what is it that I've been doing over the past year. And I'm not talking about it could be exercise, it could be food, it could be like that. I'm talking more about our understanding of the self. What kind of cray-cray do we hang on to? And what can we release and open up for more expansion? What's more opportunity? So I wanted to mention this one, what would you call it? It's an exercise, I guess. I heard this from another person and I thought it was genius. And I actually did it yesterday and I found it to be so interesting. The exercise direction was go through your camera phone for 2025. Start from the beginning and just go through the pictures and notice what you notice. How many things are in your camera phone that you were really excited about and loved and so appreciated? And how many things in the camera did you maybe notice that you could let go of? I just found it to be such an interesting exercise. And in my own personal experience, I noticed a lot of joy around travel, around my beach house, around friendship, around programs that I run. I noticed very little pictures with my family or my husband, interestingly enough, which may tell me that I don't spend enough time with them. I don't know what it tells me, but I just found it to be an interesting thing that I noticed. I think for me, the travel seems to be important. seems to be something that I want to do right now. But also, maybe there's some more time for family and husband, you know? And so looking at it in this kind of lighthearted way, um, and I actually reached out to a friend yesterday that I haven't seen since last January, and we've not been in touch real closely. And I called her and we talked for a long time. And I said, I told her about this exercise. And I said, last January we were together at my beach house. We have an old relationship. And she said, oh my God, I forgot about that. And I said, me too. And it reminded me how important you are to me in my life. And I really wanted to just reach out. So it's those things. That's a deeper connection. I wasn't just calling for nothing, I was calling for that deeper connection. And I don't know, the camera thing prompted me. So I'm sharing that with you, thinking, well, maybe you'll think that's a interesting exercise. Um, so does anybody want to share anything about today or about the letting go and the opening space or any of that? Feel free to unmute yourself and share. And if not, I'll just keep going. Hello to Susie and hello to Bonnie. I didn't get to say hello to you. Yes.
I have a share.
Yes.
And what prompted it was you're talking about the photographs. And I went to a Hanukkah party of close friends, and we all brought our menorahs and lit the candles. And the next morning, someone said, please share any photos you have. And so I had the group one, and I had one of David who was doing all the cooking and not in the picture. And everybody just felt so good seeing us all together in this beautiful photo of, and that was it. And we gave little presents to each other that we opened at home. And then we all got on thanking each other for whatever it was. And just talking about a little jar of jam that someone had made. And she had a beautiful label on the top that this was made by her. And the apples all came from northern New Mexico and the rest. It made you focus on the smallest thing as well as being all together.
Yeah.
And it was the sharing of the photos. So thank you.
Yeah, that's lovely. I love that. Yeah. Sharon, you have your hand up?
Yeah, so I think the sort of not quite as specific as a story as Noreen, but sort of my takeaway from the year thinking back is, with all the work you've been doing with women coming together and reconnecting, I've been focused this year on reconnecting from a lot of my women friends that, we've all been off doing busy things and trying making more effort to get together this year. And it's been fascinating that all of them feel the same way. When we talk about it, it's like, yeah, I really feel like I've missed, a lot of us have boys, sons. So there's a lot of male stuff. And so we've all really missed that female connection. And so it's been really wonderful to know that that's a thing that we can all work together to resolve,
Yeah.
and have this year and going forward. So, thank you to you and to all of you for helping me realize that. It's been wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah, that's been a theme with you for a while, I remember.
Yeah. Lots of testosterone in my world.
Lots of male energy around. Yes, yes. And maybe you've never thought about the solstice in this way. Uh, we might think about the solstice being a time to reflect and go inward and um, sort of finding that place to pause and create that sacred space. But it's also another opportunity for us to really reflect on uh, the past of some kind. It could be last week, it could be last year, it could be 5 years from now, or how you want to show up in the future. I know I've been working on this for a while. It's not like a light switch. You don't turn it on and turn it off. And I think if we remember that, and it's just always an uncovering, a journey, just like this light in the solstice. This is a moment in time, but it's always evolving. It's always moving. Just like I said in the centering, the stillness is not still. We're very dynamic beings internally. Yeah. Anybody else want to say anything before I move on?
I'd like to say something.
Sure.
First, hello everyone. It's nice to see your lovely faces, and as usual, see Sue. This morning, I have a radio station that I stream from Philadelphia, and they have some interesting programming. And usually on Sunday, a couple of DJs sort of take, if you will, the quiet time of Sunday morning, and sort of do their own thing. And this year they took, one of the people took played Christmas songs. Now, this isn't like your normal Christmas songs. It's a kind of a deep dive into Christmas songs. And some are from the 50s, and some are current, and some are you've never heard before. But what it brought back to me was experiences that I went through as a kid, both warm and not warm. And I guess I'm at the point in my life where I really appreciate having all of it.
Mm.
And so those songs sort of brought me to that place of, wow, this is big. This is a big life. You've lived it, and celebrate it. And so I was looking forward to having this pause to appreciate all of it.
Love that. That's
and
really
not push it away, right?
right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I
So
love that. Thank you, Lynn. That's a great perspective. Yeah, really, really reflect on it all. Mm-hmm.
Hey, Sue, April here. I wanted to comment on something you said in the lecture, for lack of a better term, in the talk. You used a phrase that I think I'm going to take into 2026 with me. And this is interesting because I tend to, there'll often be a phrase that you lay out there or a theme that I take with me into the year. Last year is, how do I want to show up for myself? That's been very significant, and for the people in my life, and for my God, and for family. But this one that's resonating with me is crimes against wisdom. Oh. And I started a list. What are some of the crimes against wisdom? Moving too fast, not acknowledging or nodding the instinct. That little voice inside that says you should do something and you ignore it. Watching the words that I use, letting go of the frenetic energy, and I'm sure the list will grow. But thank you for that term. I should put it on a t-shirt.
If you want to know the sort of the Sanskrit word, it's prajna.
Yes.
Prada. Prajna Prada. It's a big long word. Prajna Prada. Prajna Prada. Pradha.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's kind of it's a big teaching, but it's a nice way to think about how human nature works. Because it keeps coming around going, oh, I got to learn that lesson again. Oh, I
Oh, crimes against wisdom.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you all for sharing. Anybody else? No? Okay. So I wanted to just go through a couple of things before we actually get into the practice. The end of the practice today is Yoga Nidra. The purpose of taking you through these other asanas or movement patterns is I mentioned this in the beginning, to let go of some of the holding patterns. And that can be in the mind and that can be in the body. A lot of times it's both. So just notice what you notice when you go through those particular movement patterns, and I'll talk you through it as we go. But I really wanted to make a mention about Yoga Nidra before we begin, because it's a deeper dive practice. I don't want to stop what we're doing and then talk about it and then go into Yoga Nidra. I think that'll break up the flow. So many of us have experienced Yoga Nidra, and we call it yogic sleep, right? But it's, of course, it's not sleeping like we sleep in bed. We start to shut down the senses that take in the outside world so that we can really go deep inside. And we can feel what's a lot of times called the formless source of all creation. And a lot of times I might mention this as we go, but think of prana, which is our life force energy, our breath, our pulse, our blood flow, our lymph flow. These are all the source energy that keeps us alive, basically, and keeps us connected to something larger than ourselves. I think everybody here would agree that there is something out there, whatever you want to call it, is on, in your world. But a formless source is a nice way to think about this deeper connection to whatever is. And when we talk about Yoga Nidra, we're 98% of the time addressing the central nervous system. That part of us that stays connected like a little like electricity. It's always looking for stuff. And so we're working with the central nervous system to close down the senses, to practice pratyahara, which is closing down the senses and going deep in and touching into the source. Remember, the stillness is not still. And I'll walk you through that. There's a life force, a pulse, a fluctuation. If we can just get out of our own way. The mother fluids, the fluids that nourish all of our tissue, especially our nervous system, is the cerebral spinal fluid that goes up and down the spine. And there's an intelligence to these fluids, which I find fascinating. We don't ever think of things like that, but according to the teachings, there's fluid in the entire environment that has intelligence. Our bodies are no different. And so we'll enter this place called the liminal space to be this perceiver. And when we get there, there's healing, there's nourishment. It's like a rejuvenating tonic where the central nervous system becomes brilliant and vibrant, although you are resting and calm. The mind and heart are spacious and clear, and you can go into this deep inner space. So I find all of that helpful, because when I first started doing Yoga Nidra, I just laid down and pretty much fell asleep most of the time. And I do like to know why I'm doing things, which is why I share it with you. And then you can just let go of all of that and experience. Okay? So let's move to the mat. We're going to start with breath work, and then we're going to move into some somatic work. Make sure I have everything I want with me. And so let's sit first. Let's sit first. And you might sit right where you are, or you might stay and move onto your mat, because we are going to go right into practice from here. I'm going to stay here just so that I can sit with you, and I'm closer to you, and then I'll move back on my mat when we practice. So as we take a moment to find our center again, in the beginning, we use the base, our pelvis, our legs, our base of support, grounds us to the earth. And then from the tailbone upward towards the crown of the head, I want you to notice if you feel any lightness. The density is like, dragging down. I feel heavy. Gravity's pushing me down. Can you have a sense of lightness without actually efforting? Closing eyes. noticing the breath at the nostrils. And soften your face, soften your jaw, soften your throat. Let go of the learning, the taking in, the information. Let go of all of that and just be an experience. And start to allow the breath to have your own natural biorhythm without shifting it. We're all really unique in this way. Like your fingerprints or your eyes, very unique biorhythm. And you connect to this thing that we call a breath, which helps to move around the prana and speaks directly to the nervous system. We take the breath downward towards the belly. Again, it's an experience rather than an actual doing. My direction helps you to move there, but I don't want you to work at it. It's a slow opening, a subtle expansion, where we start to really notice the qualities of the breathing. What does it feel like when I inhale? Can I feel it down in my belly? Can I feel it through my ribs? Can I feel it in my back body? What does it feel like when I'm exhaling? Do I feel a letting go or a release? Is there a pause anywhere? Not because you're creating it, but because your body's natural biorhythm has a natural pause somewhere in the cycle. And can you start to feel the breath as a wave of prana flowing in and out, expanding and contracting, noticing front body, side body, back body, and the area around you. As we connect to this most subtle aspect called breathing, expanding, letting go. After your next exhale, you can soften all of that, let it go, and then flutter your eyes open. All right, so let's meet down on the mat. We're going to lie down on our backs first. And as we lie down on the back, I want you to don't have anything underneath you. So we have habits where, I have to have something under my head, or I have to have something under my legs. See if you can let go of all of that and just be on the floor for a moment. Body down. Pretend Shavasana, I like to say. Pretend Shavasana. Turn the palms open. Just let your body sink into the earth. And then I want you to just go through these various layers of your being. So first, physical body, what do you notice? It's the really most obvious place. You might notice your back feels tight, or one of your knees feels a little funky, or maybe you have a little headache, or your stomach's gurgling. Just notice these physical sensations we get. Notice how the body's breathing. And we just went through a really nice pranayama, so your body might have this nice, easy rhythm. Notice the state and quality of your mind. And the quality of your energy body or your prana. Okay, so somatic work is all about connecting small, subtle movements with breathing. So the first one we're going to do is called a spinal undulation. I want you to bend your knees and put your hands, if you can, behind your head. Interlace your fingers. Let your head rest in your fingers and on your hands. And if you're able to, pull your elbows open all the way to the floor. Now, some people have a lot of trouble with their shoulders, and this position feels hard for them. And if that's you, take your arms open on the floor. If you can, please put your hands behind your head. On your inhale, keep your bottom on the floor, but you're going to arch your lower back off the floor, fill the belly, and press the elbows into the mat. And then as you exhale, draw the belly down, bring the back flat to the floor, and roll your elbows toward each other. Head stays down. Inhaling, taking your pubic bone away from your chest and your chest away from your pubic bone, touching the elbows to the floor. Exhaling, thinking about that back moving down, belly in, elbows moving in. And we're going to continue back and forth. And the next time your elbows come in, I want you to hug your head. Hug your head with your arms, like, oh, give it a little skull squeeze. And then open. Next time you open, take your chin slightly away from your chest as your belly rises. And as you exhale, squeeze your elbows in towards your head, back down, chin maybe slightly down. Inhaling. So you move nice and slow with your breathing. Now you can stay doing it this way, or the next time you pull your elbows together, you might lift your head off the floor and traction your head towards your chest. Inhaling, head goes back down, arms open, chin moves away from the chest as the spine lifts up. And just notice how your body starts to unwind itself. It's very interesting practice to notice the subtlety of, oh, it felt one way when we started, and now I'm starting to feel a little bit more open, a little bit more lubricated, a little bit more connected. And as you open your elbows, inhale, how much of your lower spine, middle spine is off the mat? Exhaling, contracting. Arms wrap around the head. Maybe you're rolling your shoulders off the mat. So think slow, think spine, think vibration and energy pulsing along the spinal column. We'll do one more cycle. We'll end with the curling up, this wrapping of the head, drawing the chin in, and then resting your head down on the mat. Let your arms go down, let your legs go down. And from this point, you can take a little bit of a scan to see if anything shifted in your physical body. Did anything change? Does your breath feel different? Dropping in, dropping in, dropping in, letting go. So we built brightness in the spine. That's what we were doing there. This one, we're going to illuminate the heart center. So I want you to take your feet into a bent knee position. Again, walk your feet a little wider. Take your arms up to the ceiling. Wrap your right elbow over your left elbow and hug your shoulders. Elbows point to the ceiling so they're not dropped down on your chest. And we're just going to rock. Elbows over to the right. You'll feel yourself roll to your right shoulder. And then come back to center and rock over to the left, feeling your left shoulder. Your hips stay quiet. Your feet can help anchor you. And you're moving just through this upper torso, sliding and gliding over the tissues. Remember when our tissues are tight, we're holding a lot of tension. It's exhausting. It's really, really fatiguing to the body. And people might say, God, I don't know why I'm so tired. I didn't do anything. But you might notice when we move through these little baby movement patterns that there's a lot of tightness and tension in different areas. Like right now, you might be into your area of the back right between your shoulder blades. A lot of people feel tight there. Go slow. Think about your pelvis being the anchor point so it's not moving. And if you get to an end range and you feel like, oh God, that feels so good right there, just stop and take a breath. There's no hurry, there's no rush. And then come back to center. Open up your arms to go all the way out so that your arms expand outward. And then come back in. Now cross the left elbow over the right. Hold your shoulders and we'll do the same thing. Starting to the left next. And then moving to the right. Let your head be heavy. Allow yourself to be in the experience rather than doing. We're so good at following directions and doing what we're supposed to be doing. Can you just allow the experience to help you connect on a deeper level? This particular simple action can be felt in lots of places in the upper body. Shoulders, arms, upper back, neck, chest. Just notice what you notice. You might even notice, wow, can I go far on one side, but the other side feels kind of stuck. Do one more on each side, just rocking from left to right. And then finding yourself releasing, arms come all the way open. Just let your arms expand. Hopefully you have enough room and you're not like me and running into the wall. Chest is open here. And then go back to that pretend shavasana. Drop in for about 20 seconds. All right. So from here, the arms are going to either stay down if your shoulders are tired of being up. Just let them be down. You can go into cactus arms or T arms, or you can go back to with your head on your hands. So the more open your chest is, the more juice you're going to get out of this one. One foot on the floor, right foot on the floor next to your left leg or close to your left leg. So we're going to drop the knee into the midline, and you're going to find a place where it just stops. Then push into your right foot and peel your hip and your waist and maybe your ribs and kidney off the floor on that right side. Keep your shoulder anchored. And then release and come back. So this is what we call a kidney pump. It helps to get deep into the tissues around the pelvis, the lower back, the diaphragm, and the kidneys. And again, there's this instinct of trying to make it bigger than what it should be. Keep your right shoulder on the floor and just think about lifting slowly your hip, your lower back, your waist, your ribs. And just like all the other ones that we're doing, you're going to notice that you start off one way and then you create, the body lets go, you create a little bit bigger and bigger experience. This one's to be felt a lot of times in the lower back. You might notice it in your armpit chest. You might notice a big line from your inner pelvis all the way up to your diaphragm and ribs. Just be with the experience. After this next one, go ahead and shift your sides. We'll do the same thing on this other side. If you can change the cross of your fingers, if you have them behind your head, that's ideal. And then let your knee drop in, push into your foot, peel your hip away. Get to that end range where the shoulder stays anchored, and then find your way back. So this is, again, working with the breath. You can exhale when you come across. And you can inhale when you back up. Somatic work is very intuitive, very personal, a lot of subtlety going on. And you might notice that you have a connection with one or more of the movement patterns, like you really like the way it feels in your body. And then you might notice that there's a couple that you're thinking, I don't really like this one so much. You might ask yourself what that's about. So remember to keep your shoulder down, your elbow open if you've got your hands behind your head. And use that as your anchor point to pull from. One more time. Knee drops, center. Peel your left side away from the floor. Just get to that end range. And then release it. All right. Arms down, legs down, drop in. Another 15, 20 seconds. Just let your body find that centering point. Coming back to your own center. All right, we're going to do one more here. I want you to turn over on your stomach. And as you're here on your stomach, you're going to come up on your elbows. So Sphinx pose, very commonly called. Now you might think, oh, I don't really like Sphinx pose. It doesn't work with my back very well. So maybe move your elbows a little bit wider, come down a little bit lower. I want there to be some extension of your spine. Okay, so leave your feet a little wider. Take a breath here in the middle. So we're going to lift and gently pull the arms like you're trying to glide your arms backwards, but they're not moving. Shoulders, chest move open. So there's this expansion here. From here, we take a breath, and then we exhale and we twist and look over our left shoulder, like you're trying to see your foot. And then inhale, come to center, Little gentle pull with the elbows, and exhale and twist to the right. And inhale to center and twist to the left. So it's slow. It involves the whole upper body. Inhale to center and exhale, twist. Make sure you turn your eyes so that you can see your foot. Now the next time you come to the left with your eyes, I want you to stay there. Turn your right toes under and press through your right foot so your right knee comes off the floor and you feel your leg engage. Keep that push as you twist and look more to the left. Breathe deep into the right side belly. And you might even want to expand the exhale. Next one more breath. Come back to center. Release your feet. Give it a little gentle pull forward as if you're trying to make yourself longer. And then as you exhale, turn and look over your right shoulder. Turn your left toes under. Push through your left leg. And reach the left heel back as you twist and look over your right shoulder. Take 3 nice deep breaths in that left belly. The part that's really kind of pushing to the floor. Maybe expanding the exhale just a little bit. And then after your next exhale, come back to center. And now this last bit, stay where you are. Two feet, toes turned under. Press through both legs and give it a little pull with your elbows as if you're trying to bring your heart forward. Eyes can be neutral, they can be closed. Keep pressing through the heels as you pull gently with the arms. Illuminating, opening and expanding the front body, illuminating the spine again, illuminating the heart. And take one more nice deep breath. And then let everything go. Come down with your head on your hands. Drop in. Let go and be. Let your practice and your experience be the light in the darkness. Let your practice and your experience bring you rest and sustenance. Let your practice and your experience allow you to keep a sense of stillness and presence. All right. So bring your hands right next to your body. Can you push yourself up away from the floor? And now we're going to move into a little bit more restorative work where you're going to use your props. The first one is a little bit of an effort. I wouldn't call it as restorative as some of the other ones, but it is an important action that I want you to have. So you're going to need your strap. I asked you all to have a strap today. And ideally, if you have a loop in your strap, it's going to work the very best for you. Make sure that you have your other props near you. So you're going to lie down on your back. Bend your knees initially. And take the loop of your strap and wrap it around your right ball of the foot. Now, if you've been practicing with me lately, you know this is what I'm going to do. It's my new favorite thing. It does a lot for the back body. All right. So we're familiar with this. We hold the strap and we pull the strap. This is different. I want you to reach that leg up longer, take a hold of the tail of your strap with both hands, and then move your hands backwards toward the wall behind you. Now your arms are going to stop based on your shoulders. So if your shoulders are limited or you have an injury, your hands are going to be higher. If you keep sliding, you might get along your ears. And you create a tension point between your hands and your foot. So there's no slack in the strap. And your leg is not bent. It's extending. There's an extension happening here. And then from here, you can choose to slide your left leg down. Now reach up through the heels of both legs. So if your foot is on the floor bent, leave that one alone. But if it's straight, reach out through the left heel. Reach up through the right heel. And reach back with both arms, creating a lengthening in the whole side body and up the back body. Breathing. Heels expand, toes are open. Go where there's no struggle, but you know that there's a little bit of effort. We know when we do yin poses, there's always a little bit of effort. We find that resting place. Can you let your hip release, the right hip? Let it rest on the floor. Can you feel the right outer edge of your sacrum? Letting your back soften. Letting your breath deepen. Feel the presence of prana as we create this extension in the whole back body. Take one more breath. And then hang on to the strap. Just let your leg come all the way back down. So you still have a hold of the strap. You're just releasing. And then slide your left foot in the loop. Bend your right knee initially and then bring your leg back up. So your left leg's in the air now. We start here because this is the sort of the most best gateway, I guess I would say, into this shape. And you're going to reach that left heel up to the ceiling. Now, if you're hypermobile, be careful about locking your knee, but I do want that leg straight. Take your arms and slide them back where they were before. Get your arms wherever you want them. Remember, I just want them straight. Don't try to move away from that pulling down action. And then slide your right leg down if you're doing it. Press through your right heel. If you think about opening your toes, this is a really nice action to keep active in your legs. Breathe, drop your left hip, let it go. You'd be surprised at how much you lift your hip up, trying to, somehow get a bigger action. Soften that left hip, let it be heavy, and then reach up with your right or left heel. Reach back with your arms. Oh, this is that discernment piece that we always work on in yin. Not too little, not too hard, just right. You feel the tension in the tissues. You know something's going on, but you're not overworking. Pushing too hard and overworking only depletes us, and on this day, with our focus today, we want to nourish the tissues. We want to nourish our psyche and our inner body, build prana, create the fluids, these nourishing, expansive fluids in our body, lymph, blood, synovial fluids, cerebral spinal fluid, all the fluids. Take one more nice deep breath here, and then slowly release, letting your foot come to the floor. You can take your strap away, drop in. Bending knees. Rolling to your side. Now this next one is very common. It's considered a goddess pose, chest opening pose. And if you happen to have a bolster, this is going to work the best for you. Let me show you that first. So the bolster is on the ends of your mat. You're going to put a block underneath the bolster. I like second height, but you can do any. And I have a pretty firm bolster so it doesn't collapse in the middle when I lay on it. Your bottom's going to be on the floor. Your upper body's going to be on the bolster. Head higher than heart, heart higher than pelvis. So if that's available, do it that way. If you have more mobility and you don't have a bolster, you can use your 2 blocks. You make a T, and a lot of times it's nice to have a either a higher block like that or a blanket over the top block, and you put this middle block right between your shoulder blades and your head on top here. So again, you've got bottom on the floor, shoulders open, head higher. The last choice you have is to just use a blanket or 2. And if you do a blanket, remember we want chest higher, head higher, bottom on the floor. So I might take my blanket and fold it in thirds so it's a little thicker. And then I might have something underneath my, under my head. So I happen to have a second blanket here. I might put my blanket like that. So my head is higher, bottom down on the floor. So one or any of those will work for you. This is a restorative practice here, so I want you to be comfortable. I don't want you to be suffering. There's no effort with this one. The idea would be to completely let go here. Now, if you have an extra blanket, you can do whatever you want with your legs. So if I'm in this shape, I could put my legs down. I could put my legs in a neck bent position. I could put my feet together and bring my knees apart. If you've got this available to you and you have a second blanket, you can take your blanket around your ankles and kind of prop it up around your hips so that I've created a little support system for my legs. And that's really important when you do restorative work. This is where you could use your eye pillow if you want, or something over your eyes, and you're going to take your arms away from you. The idea here is that I want your chest open. I want your body to be supportive. Your lower back feels supported and happy, and your arms are in a place where you've got this, a little bit of tug, a little bit, just a little, not hard. So you're creating the spaciousness across your heart. Spaciousness across your heart. So we take the time to pause here. We could call this a yin pose. We could call this a restorative yoga pose. Because we probably will feel some kind of sensation. And we take the time to pause here to create space, a sacred pause through breath, thoughts, words, and actions, creating a slower and more intentional rhythm. We go inward. We allow ourselves the opportunity to notice what's present, our felt sense and our inner wisdom. We allow this experience to connect us on a deeper level, to build the light within and all around us. And we become open to new opportunities, new insights, more expansion. This practice and this time is for nourishment. For connecting to the deepest, truest self, our divine light, and releasing that ignorance within us and tapping into that divine intelligence, the source, the formless source. We might call it our intuition, that little moment, that little voice that gives us a way to a pathway to move. But then we don't listen. We're not allowing that space to come in and that pause to happen long enough to hear, to truly hear that deeper intuitive wisdom. Releasing into the earth. Can you feel the weight of your bones, the weight of your whole body as it's being supported by the props? And from that support to the earth, can you feel the expansion and the lightness of the breath? The freedom and the ease in the mind, and the flow of the prana. Take one more nice deep breath here. Before you start to move, just notice what you notice. And then we start to slowly move away from the shape, maybe bringing the legs toward each other, moving the blanket away if you did it that way. A gentle rolling over to the side and pushing yourself up away from the floor. The second shape that I want to take you through is a twist. And if you have a bolster, again, it will work the best. Otherwise, use your blankets and create a bolster shape. So if I didn't have this, and you can see it's probably about 3-4 inches thick, I might use this blanket because it's folded the way it is and it's dense. It can hold me in the same shape. Okay? So what I'd like you to do is keep the bolster or the blanket on the length of the mat. Use another blanket or something for your head. And you're going to come into a side sitting position. So take your hip, I don't care which one it is, right up against the edge of your blanket or your bolster. And one hand is on each side of the prop you're using. Let your legs be open, relaxed, and comfortable. I care less about what your legs are doing. So some people like them close together, some people like them farther apart. And then from here, I want you to come up on your fingertips, lift your heart up, and then turn your chest toward this prop as you slowly lower yourself down. Belly will land first, then maybe your ribs, then your chest. And if you have it available to you, you could turn your head away from your knees in a full twist. If that feels impossible, turn your head toward your knees. And then just let yourself rest here. Elbows, forearms, palms on the mat. Belly has turned downward towards the bolster or the prop. Hip is on the floor. Restorative twist. As you take your awareness inward and close your eyes and you breathe, you might notice the simple realization that stillness is not still. There's dynamic action happening the entire time you're resting here. Your skin can feel what you're resting on and the temperature of the air. Your ears can hear my voice and the sounds around you. Your nose can feel and sense the quality of the air as it moves in and out. Even your eyes, when they're closed, can see within. And you can drop into that felt sense of what's going on inside. And allow yourself to just feel heavy on your prop. Let the prop hold you. Let the prop hold you. Let your body feel heavy as you're resting. Sensing and feeling and noticing the dynamic stillness within you. Allow your practice to be the light in the darkness. Allow your practice to bring you rest and sustenance. And allow this practice to bring you a sense of stillness and presence. And take a nice deep breath. Now from where you are, just take your hands and gently push yourself up away from your prop. The easiest thing for you to do is just to come up on all fours and then turn the other way so that you're on your other hip. You might scooch the bolster or the blanket, whatever you have, close to your body. And then one hand on each side of the prop. Come up on your fingers and expand and elevate your heart. You'll start to notice the belly starting to turn toward the prop as you lower yourself down nice and slow. Remember, you can turn your head away from your knees in a full twist, or turn your head toward your knees and let your neck relax. Find that resting place where you can just be on this prop, where there's no effort. There's just allowing and being in the moment. Breathing into the sensations. Breathing into the experience. And as you're present with this experience, stay open and curious to anything that starts to come forward. Without you looking, without you grasping, without there having to be anything. There might be a moment where there's a little bit of insight or a little bit of awareness that shows up because we are becoming quiet. We are becoming more and more still. Creating that pause for opportunity. And take a nice long deep breath. And then exhale and start to move yourself away from that shape. Again, easiest thing for you to do is to bring yourself up into all fours. Now, one last thing here before we settle into Yoga Nidra. If you can, bring your knees apart and your feet together. Start to sit back towards your heels and then slide this bolster towards you or the blanket towards you. Just rest here for a moment. Let yourself be in a neutral position. Your head could be on your hands or on the prop that you had with your head prior. If you're low enough and you can get this close to your belly, so your belly is resting on it, that's fine. For me, it's like a little too low. I'd have to actually put my second blanket on top. Some people's knees don't like this particular shape, so you can't go back as far. You might lay on your back and bring your knees towards your chest. This is a transition move. It's not to be stayed long. And then start to slowly bring yourself up away from the shape. And now this is where we're going to set up for Yoga Nidra. And what I might suggest you do is to take one of your blankets or your bolster for underneath your legs, and I'm going to show you how I want you to do it. Because we are in Vata season and we are Vata stage of life, we can assume that our nervous system is a little bit unsettled. And so when you're lying down, something under your head is ideal, not a big pillow, but something a little bit just neutral. Your eye pillow, if you're using one, or something to cover your eyes. A blanket to go over the top of you. And if you happen to have another blanket or a sandbag to put over your pelvis, that would be ideal. So when you get down here, I know you all know how to set yourself up. So once you're down, I want you to bend your knees and lift your feet off the floor and pull this bolster or blanket right up to your sit bones. And then let your legs go down so that the very tops of your thighs are resting on the edge of your blanket. Why am I asking you to do that? Because it helps to send the message to the fascia of the lower back to soften, for the sacrum to widen, for the back body to let go. And then from here, blanket, you could even fold it in half to make it a weighted blanket. Put it all the way over you, something over your eyes. Ideally, arms are not touching your body, palms are open. And so get yourself all set up. I'll give you a couple of minutes here. Now this is the juice of the practice. Everything led up to this moment. And so don't shortchange yourself as far as comfort. You want to be 100% comfortable. If you want an extra blanket, you need to go get it. Go do that. I'm transitioning towards the front of the screen so you can hear me really well. So as I mentioned earlier, Yoga Nidra gives us the opportunity to drop into that dynamic stillness where we can connect to the formless source, the prana, the pulse, the vibration of breath. A stillness that is not still. Tapping into the fluctuations, the mother fluids of the cerebral spinal fluid, where the intelligence of all fluids reside. We drop into this liminal space and we become the observer or the perceiver. When we drop into this source, we connect with healing, nourishment, like a rejuvenative tonic, and the central nervous system becomes brilliant and vibrant. Resting in space, mind and heart spacious and clear. So as we begin our Yoga Nidra practice, just allow your body to feel comfortable as much as you can. Warm, supported, comfortable. Where you won't be moving around, you won't have to fuss. Allow your body to open to the earth. Heels are a little bit wider than your hips. Arms are open, palms up. Relax your whole body. Relax your whole body. Become aware of the space of your whole body. Begin to sense a nurturing tone to the environment. The atmosphere charged with ease and healing. Bring your awareness to the rise and fall of your abdomen. Become aware of your body breathing. Allow the breath to remain effortless. and the chest soft and still. Sense that as you inhale, your body and mind are being recharged, replenished. And as you exhale, let go of all mental and physical tension. Continue to be aware of your breath, recharging on the inhale, releasing on the exhale. Abdomen softly rises and falls, chest still. Now begin to slowly shape your breath, as slowly and smoothly as possible, with very little movement in the chest. Breathe through your nostrils. Refine the breath so there are no pauses or edges to the breath. The breath is silent, like a whisper. Just a slight internal awareness of the sound or vibration of the breath. Continue to shape the breath consciously. No strain, no effort, and no pauses in the flow. Continue to breathe as slowly and smoothly as possible. Continue to empty the mind as you exhale and replenish the mind and body on your inhale. Please continue. Now gradually discontinue the conscious shape of the breath and allow your breath to return to its involuntary pattern. As inhale and exhale flow effortlessly, sense the link between inhale and exhale. This link is awareness. Please bring your awareness to the midbrain or third eye center. Deep in that space, sense a light, a luminous starlight point of light in the midbrain. As you relax, sense the breath presence in that space. Breath and luminous starlight light in the midbrain. Now bring your awareness to your throat center and see or feel the starlight point of light. Breathe. Move your awareness to your right shoulder, point of light. Right elbow, breathe, presence, and light. Right wrist, tip of right thumb, point of light. Tip of index finger, tip of middle finger, tip of ring finger, tip of pinky finger, whole palm point of light and presence. Right wrist, right elbow, right shoulder joint. Move your awareness to your throat center, point of light, whole body effortless. Breathe. Move your awareness to your left shoulder, your left elbow, your left wrist. Relax. Tip of left thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, pinky finger, whole palm, luminous bright light. Come back to your left wrist, your left elbow, your left shoulder joint, middle of the throat center, luminous bright light. Let go. No trying. Just be. Now move your awareness to your heart center. Brilliant, brilliant, bright light pulsing right at your heart center as you breathe and feel. Move your awareness down to your solar plexus, your navel center. See and feel that point of light. Your sacrum and your whole pelvis. Presence and awareness. Move this awareness to your right hip joint, your right knee, your right ankle, tip of the right big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe, whole foot, brilliant, bright light. Move your awareness to your right ankle, your right knee, your right hip, top of your sacrum, whole pelvis. Relax. Nothing to do. Move to your left hip, your left knee, your left ankle, tip of your left big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe. Move back to your left ankle, left knee, left hip, top of your sacrum and whole pelvis. Brilliant, bright light pulsing on the breath. Move to your navel center, your heart center, presence, awareness, throat center, midbrain, point of light, presence and awareness at the midbrain. Relax your whole body. Starlight point of light in the midbrain. Now see all the points at once. Twinkling stars in the night sky. All points are vibrant and awake, luminous. The body has become a constellation of points of light. Now sense the space between those points, pure, undiluted spaciousness. You are space and points of light. Notice the breath moving through that space. You are spacious awareness, conscious of breath that moves through that space. The body sleeps, the mind sleeps. You resolve to stay awake. Consciousness remains aware effortlessly. Sense that the body has dissolved. You are a cloud of rose-colored light. The boundaries of the body are dissolved, and you've merged into a cloud of rose-colored light. No visualization, no effort. Dissolve all thought and all grasping. Just melt into rose-colored cloud. Eventually, you have dissolved. You've become a cloud of awareness. How slowly, ever so slight and ever so gently, come back to your breath. And just notice the perception of your inner space, your inner being, and that dynamic stillness, connecting to the source. You can see and feel your whole body. As you start to come back and you feel your whole body, let your breath deepen and allow it to reach your fingertips and your toe tips. And gently starting to stretch and move your fingers, your hands, your arms. Stretch and move your toes and your feet and your legs. Coming back to the physicality of you. Restful body, restful mind. As you feel ready, you can bend your knees. Roll over on a side and pause there. Letting yourself slowly come back. Eyes stay closed. Be in this deeper, deeper connection. And then as you feel ready, you can slowly sit up. I'm going to pause here in a seat. We could call it the Nidra seat. Finding that density and that grounding of the pelvis, connection to earth, the lightness of spine, the vibrancy, the illumination, the perception, that deeper perception and awareness to that formless source. Allowing the pause. Allowing the space. Allowing for that inner wisdom to start to come forward. That deeper connection. From here, let's bring the hands together at the heart center. As your thumbs touch your breastbone, you might notice there's a lightening or a floating sensation to the front body. Not an effort, maybe just an intention to an expansion. Slightly bowing the head. Head to hands, hands to heart, heart to hands, hands to heart, head, connecting, being, nourishment and healing in this space. As we close the practice, bring in gratitude Gratitude for our time together on the mat, for this beautiful 2 hours of the winter solstice and sacred stillness, for our deep body wisdom and guiding light. May this light always shine brightly, and may we always see the light in each other. Namaste.